What is up, guys? It is your boy MaineMania, and in a surprise twist, the Earthrealm Tower apparently is coming next. Now, I don't know what this means for the Tower of Horror. I actually made a video that was supposed to go up yesterday, but I haven't gotten a chance to edit it yet, so it's going to seem out of place now, but it had to skip the line. This had to skip the line. I mean, look what this is, guys. New tower, new equipment out of nowhere as Halloween season approaches. I'm a little worried about this because that almost makes me feel like they're either going to ruin the Tower of Horror coming back, or maybe they're done with the tower altogether. That wouldn't feel fair because, you know, there's so much powerful tower equipment that you can only get while these towers are active. And if they don't bring these towers back, and you don't spend a freaking shitload of money, you basically have no chance of getting that equipment ever. So I'm not a big fan of this happening now as it is. I would have loved to see this maybe sometime December after both the Tower of Horror and then the Nightmare Tower. But it's here. So let's talk about the equipment pieces coming up, all right? We've got another 10 pieces of equipment. We'll start off with the uncommons. There are 3 uncommons. The first is Peaceful Mind. I'm just gonna give you my initial thoughts and reactions on each of these. I obviously haven't played with them, so I can't tell you if they're gonna be any good or bad, but just my thoughts on the impact they will have on your teams, etc. As we get them in the towers. So Peaceful Mind, 40% opponent critical hit chance reduction, and I believe the Fusion X bonus will be 15% reduced power cost on all special attacks. This is a very bland piece of equipment. Not bad, but nothing spectacular at all. This isn't gonna really do too much for you. It could potentially help you out for the most part. This is not going to be a very impactful piece going forwards. Then we have the Geozi. This is a 40% critical hit damage boost, and I believe the Fusion X bonus is 10% chance to remove all active dots when dealing a critical hit. Dots from fight modifiers are not affected. 10% chance to remove all active dots when dealing a crit. That's weak. If that was maybe like a 20 or 30% chance, that would feel a lot more powerful, but 10% chance means your chance to remove the dots would require you to land at least 10 critical hits. If you have your character built for crits, then yeah, this piece will definitely be beneficial because your critical hit damage is going to be boosted by 40%, but the 10% chance to remove the dot, as a Fusion X bonus, I think that could be higher. I easily think that could be a solid 25%, at least a 25%. So just my thoughts on that. I think that could easily be 25% or so. That would make it feel more usable, but it's not going to be a bad piece. You will get use out of that when you're, you know, making some critical hit chance builds on your characters. Next up in the uncommons, we have the Cyber Pack 2007. 30% special attack 1 and special attack 2 crit hit chance boost, and 0.5 bar of starting power. This could be very usable. The question is this going to be a weapon or an accessory? That will make the biggest difference. I wish they would start clarifying like what slot these fit into in future renditions of this, but is this going to be a weapon or an accessory? As an accessory, this is actually pretty strong because if you give that 0.5 bar of starting power, right, as an accessory, you combine that with a maxed out, you know, Kuai Ling Scepter or King Jared's Spear, you could potentially start giving gold characters 2 bars of starting power. And, you know, you add in a Mournful Katana, Shaolin Kung Jin, Hellspawn Scorpion, etc. You start adding in, you know, Balance Kenshi. You start adding in those characters, and now you can literally start off your gold characters with X-Rays. So this is going to be strong for people that have gold teams if this fits in the accessory slot. Even if it's just an accessory and you only use it with like a maxed out Wrath Hammer or Bloody Tomahawk, you can still use like a Hellspawn Scorpion, you know what I mean, to potentially give gold characters starting X-Rays. So definitely a pretty cool piece. I've been waiting for a piece like this for a while because y'all know me, I be working on my feats of strength, and Lord knows this is going to make it much easier to max out, you know, those 250 X-Rays and battle mode wins for you know, those strong gold characters, you know, the classic Smokes, the Combat Cup Johnny Sonias, the classic Melinas, the Hanzo Hisashis of the gold class. So this piece will definitely help them get their X-Rays a lot faster, and I think that can be usable. I think that can be a very usable piece. Once again, just my thoughts, my initial thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Next up, we have the rare pieces. Body of Steel. 30% opponent unblockable attack chance reduction. 30% resistance to all debuffs. That's pretty solid. And a 20% of incoming basic attack damage transform to health. And 50% transform to power. Not bad. 30% unblockable reduction. That's going to be really good for Faction Wars. Jesus. I really want to talk about Faction Wars because, guys, the amount of Elder Tower runs I keep on losing because of an MK11 Cabal tag-in that is unfucking blockable. I'm sorry. It was such a horrible change. You're not surviving the X-Ray. You're not surviving it. Pray for Revenant, pray for Bone Shield, but that's all you got unless you have Resurrection equipment. And there is Resurrection equipment, but we're not going to get there just yet. But it's very frustrating, man. I really hate when they introduce things that have zero counterplay whatsoever. So your only counterplay there is to have, you know, unblockable chance reduction. Because if he's running unblockable, guess what? Even if you're blocking, he's still getting that. It's so frustrating, guys. I can't explain how frustrating some of those changes are. And I really hope that this change, I hope this tower comes with an update that reverts some of those changes. The changes to Day of the Dead Jade, Day of the Dead Katana, and the tag-in unblockable changes to both Classic Raiden and the Cabals. I really hope they revert some of those changes. I don't think those changes were good at all for the health of the game. My personal thoughts. I'm sorry to go on a little tangent, but it's just so frustrating, man. As far as Body of Steel, I don't think this is going to be too great, but it's not a bad piece at all. I definitely think the unblockable chance reduction is strong. The 30% resistance to all debuffs is pretty cool. Once again, it would help if they told us what equipment slot this is gonna fit into it. Is it a weapon? Is it a shield? Is it an accessory? I wish they would clarify that. I'm gonna guess this is gonna be a shield. So I think this piece will be okay, but I don't think it's gonna be too great. I do think it will be usable though to build out on your starter in survival towers. So we'll see how that works out. Johnny Cage is getting Brutality equipment, people. Next up, the famous Dashing Smile. Johnny's rare piece of Brutality equipment. 150% combo ender damage boost. That is not very strong, but it's not bad. It's just not strong. 40% chance to apply incurability debuff to the whole opponent team for 10 seconds on special 1. 40% chance feels a little low. That feels a little low. And incurability is, no offense, it's horseshit. Incurability debuff is not good enough. I don't mind them introducing new debuffs and status effects into the game, but 10% of incurability, 10 seconds of incurability, it doesn't do anything for the most part. I personally think incurable would be fine if it lasted the exact same amount of time as Deathmark. Incurability needs to have the same exact timer as Deathmark does. I think in order for it to be impactful, it needs to have the same timer as Deathmark. Because right now, incurability is weaker than poison. It's weaker than poison. If you want your teammate, or if you want the opponents not to heal, bring in a character that has poison, and that's it. Throw poison on them. Poison lasts longer than these 10 seconds of incurability. It lasts longer, and at the end of the day, it's doing damage where incurability does not do any damage. Poison is not only doing damage over time, but it is causing them not to be able to heal, regen, or recover. So poison is stronger than incurability. Incurability needs a buff if they want to, make it usable. It's not bad, don't get me wrong, it's not bad, it's not usable. They're gonna have to give it a buff on these timers. 10 seconds doesn't do much, you know what I mean? It doesn't do much. It may stop a Ravenous Melina or Spec Ops Scorpion from healing for, part of their heal, but at the end of the day, it's not strong enough to really make an impactful difference. The only thing about incurability is that it does apply to the entire team, but at the end of the day, how much recovery are they really getting? Like the tagged out opponents, how much recovery are they really getting to where, they're making incurability sound better than it actually is? It's not that great. So I just think they need to increase the timers. If they fix the timers and make the timers as long as Deathmark lasts, then I think incurability can, it can hold its place with the other dots in the game. Well, not dots, but status effects in the game. It's just that it, in its current state, go with someone that has poison, or add an equipment piece that causes poison. There you go. So moving on from that, you will at Fusion X, I believe you will gain 30% more power from hitting an opponent. The opponent doesn't get power from those hits. It's almost like a 30% power gen boost, but they're not phrasing it that way. I don't know, that could be decent. Once again, that could be decent. So we'll have to see how that works out per se. Next up, we have Kung Lao's Brutality piece, his rare Brutality piece to be specific. The Wushu Master's True Weapon. 60% basic attack damage boost, not bad. 60% chance to transfer 50% damage to health on special attack 2. This is good. Health is increased and restored by 10% after performing any special attack. Max 5 times in the battle. This is a good piece. This is the best rare piece of the 3. 100%, this is going to be a strong piece for the future. So the Wushu Master's True Weapon so far is the best piece in that we've seen. But obviously, here comes the big head honchos. Here comes the epic pieces. All right, I'm sorry my camera's gonna block this a little bit, but I don't feel like moving my camera around. So here's the deal. Famous Fashion Dominator. 55% max health boost. That is extremely strong at Fusion X. Very high damage boost there. 70% chance to apply blind to an opponent for using a special attack against the user. That can be really good. Gain energy and shield. No, gain energy shield when below 80% health. The energy shield reduces all incoming damage when the user loses health. Maximum reduction is 50% damage reduction at 20% health and below. I'll need to see that in practice. I mean, obviously that sounds great. You know, it sounds really strong, but I would still need to see that in practice. For Johnny Cage, the Johnny Cage passive is 10% power generation boost after performing a successful special attack. And it stacks up to 5 times. So 10% power gen boost after successful special. So you can basically get 50% extra power gen per match. So does this 50% power gen buff stay for the rest of the match? It sounds like it does. And if so, it's going to be very strong on Johnny. So shout out to Undead Johnny, Combat Cup, Stunt Double. This is going to be very strong on chaining those damn special ones. And we all know Johnny's got really good timing. A lot of those Johnnies have phenomenal timing, especially Undead Hunter. So here is the head honcho of the tower gear. It's the Jinsei hat. This is the piece everybody's gonna want. They're gonna want it for one reason. But I need to know if this is a Fusion X passive or if it's built into the actual thing. So, this piece, 50% critical hit chance boost. Very strong. 20% chance to apply Weaken, Shield Break, or Curse on a critical hit. Also, very strong. Especially if you apply Curse with a crit build, a crit hit chance build, it's gonna be pretty strong, which makes me worry that these bosses are gonna have very high health in the Earthrealm Tower. That is a fear of mine. I think these bosses are gonna have really high health, guys, really high health. But I believe the Fusion X passive, which sucks if it's only a Fusion X passive. It makes it much, much weaker than Living Dead if that's the case. But once per match, avoid death by automatically tagging out before the killing blow. After tag out, the user gains 1000% recovery for 7 seconds. And this effect does not trigger if the killing blows are Brutality. We're gonna need to brutal ending those bosses in this tower, guys. That is definitely a sign that we're gonna need to brutal ending these bosses, because that is going to be very frustrating. Very frustrating to deal with on boss fights. But I believe that is only a Fusion X passive. So it may not, this piece may not be as strong unless you're able to get it to Fusion X. And let's be honest, if you don't spend money, I don't think it's even possible to get any of these epic pieces of gear to Fusion X. So RIP free-to-play players, man. That's the thing that sucks about tower gear being so strong, you know? It's like when you're playing, you know, Survivor and Elder Towers and you're playing against all these pay-to-win players, like you go up against this kind of equipment and it literally ends your runs. But that just comes with the territory, I guess. They want to make money. They want to make money, and apparently they're making a lot of it because the system hasn't changed. So, very strong piece. It's going to be a phenomenal piece. No questions asked. This is going to be a very, very, very strong piece altogether. Next up, we have Kung Lao's epic Brutality piece. It is called the Wushu Masters Guandao Blade. 50% chance basic attacks deal 50% of damage to all opponents. That can be very strong against, you know, against bosses. That can be really strong against bosses and boss fights. But it's only on basic attacks. But once again, you know, depending on how strong those basic attacks are, that can put in work. You know, that can definitely put in some work. So once again, 50% of the damage is probably going to be only at Fusion X. So that could easily be 10% or 20% at the levels, you know, a free-to-play player will get them at. So which will not make much of a difference. So we'll have to see this once again in practice versus what it looks like on paper. 30% damage boost after tag-in for 15 seconds. All following damage boost gained from this equipment is 15% more powerful. Max is 75% damage boost. So this piece is going to work extremely well on a classic Liu Kang or classic reptile build, where you are basically rewarded for tagging in and out or causing tag-ins and outs, because you're getting buffs when you tag in. So this can be pretty solid piece. Next up, I believe this is the Fusion X passive. Successful special 2s apply silence debuff for 15 seconds to the opposing team. Silence is a new debuff that prevents the affected characters from using special 1 and reduces their power gen by 60%. 15 seconds without a special 1. Not bad. That's not bad at all. That's not bad at all. Not game changing though, but not bad at all. Kung Lao's special buff is whenever opponent uses a special attack, gain 20% crit chance boost till the end of the match, and that can stack up to 5 times. So if opponent uses a special on you 5 times, you will have a 100% crit chance boost for the rest of the match. On Revenant Kung Lao, this absolutely breaks Revenant Kung Lao. Are you kidding me? Wait a minute. This absolutely breaks Revenant Kung Lao, because he can literally chain his special 2s like there's no stinking tomorrow, and he gets a shield from it so he can eat the specials. Oh my goodness, this is gonna do what Weather Warfare did to Sub-Zero. That right there is gonna do what Weather Warfare did to Sub-Zero, where it absolutely broke Sub-Zero. This breaks Circle of Shadow Kung Lao. He used to be called Revenant Kung Lao. Man, I don't know. That sounds a little crazy on paper. That sounds too good to be true on paper. We'll see. You can turn Revenant Kung Lao into an absolute assassin with that piece. An unkillable freaking assassin. Special 2 after special 2 after special 2 in Crit City. My goodness, that could be dangerous. And lastly, the Torturer. Last piece of epic gear. Debuffs applied to an opponent are 30% more powerful. They need to specify what that means. One of Katana's pieces in the Adenian Tower had similar language, and I think it said like, you know, weakened power drain was 15% more effective. But what does that mean? Does that mean it lasts 15% longer? It does 15% more damage? Like, what does it actually mean? This says debuffs are 30% more powerful. I think they need to clarify that language. That's a very confusing language. 30% more powerful, but how? Is it by the damage? Is it by the how much it lasts? Like, exactly how? That's a little confusing as far as the language that they use. Because there are some pieces that say like, okay, you have a fire damage boost, or you do more, you know, poison lasts X amount of percent longer, or the damage from it lasts longer. So which is it? Is it both? I just think they need to clarify some of these effects with the newer equipments that keep coming out. 50% chance to apply fire, bleed, or poison on combo ender. This is pretty strong. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And I believe the Fusion X passive is 50% chance to reflect any debuff back to an opponent. Team debuffs are not affected. So basically a walking classic smoke times freaking 2.5. That is strong. At Fusion X, that is strong. 50% chance to reflect any debuff back. That is strong. Yeah, that can be really good. So that is the equipment in this tower. The epic pieces seem pretty good. Some of these epic pieces can sound a little crazy on paper, but that is the nature of tower gear in this game. I've actually been waiting for a piece to have, you know, an accessory piece, specifically an accessory piece to give you some kind of starting power. And a half a bar is more than fair because you can't match what a Wrath Hammer can do. The Wrath Hammer is an epic piece of normal gear. So, you know, for an uncommon accessory piece, you can't give it anything more than a half bar of power. So it doesn't sound like a lot, but it can be good. And once again, getting that crit on special 1 and 2 can also be a huge damage boost as well. So that's what I thought about all of the pieces, guys. I think the epics look great. I am not too crazy about the rares in general. One of the rares is pretty good though. And you know, I'm very disappointed that unfortunately we are getting this tower presumably before the Tower of Horror. Because I was really looking forward to the Tower of Horror, man. But beggars can't be choosers. I ain't got no damn choice in the damn matter. So all we could do is play the game and do our best to have fun. That is going to wrap up today's episode. Let me know what you guys think about this tower gear. Earthrealm Tower presumably going to be starting within a week or two. And I don't know if it's going to run concurrent with the Tower of Horror, or the Tower of Horror is going to get shelved until a later date. The Tower of Horror is always run, you know, in line with Halloween. So I hope they don't ruin our Halloween. We'll put that out there right now. I hope they don't ruin our Halloween. And I want you guys all to tell me in the comment section below, what do you plan on being for Halloween? What do you plan on being for Halloween? I may dress up this year. I just may do it. I don't know. Give me ideas in the chat below and we'll talk about it in the comment section. It's your boy MaineMania. Thanks for watching. I'm out. Peace.